This is a 12-inch Westinghouse PowerAire, and the nameplate would, well, it's right here, but it's bent. The nose cone, well, not the nose cone, I call it the hood ornament, is missing, but I may have another one. Switch, here's the handle to the switch. There's the switch, and there's a screw to keep the switch in place, so I guess in someone's mind it was good enough. The cord is, I think it's good to go. Wish I could use the same cord. I'm kidding. Head wire's got to be replaced as well. Lots of rust. You can hear it. There's some grinding inside. Let's see if the motor's still good. First thing I like to do, I like to check the actual motor. I'm gonna cut the head wire. See if I can expose some conductors to get a resistance reading of the motor. 3 wires. Interesting. Man, this is bad shape. Let's get our meter. Looks like you can see the reading. Let's go yellow to red. Open circuit. Not good. Oop. I don't know if the third conductor is even being used. Open circuit there. Let's do the third arrangement here. There we go. Let's take her apart. Well, I forgot to actually record a video. I was doing hyperlapse. I don't remember where I stopped recording. So yeah, I think I had to take it all apart. So I started with the gearbox, which is connected with these studs that are threaded at the end, and I'll record myself. So yeah, there's the thread on one of them. And a longer bolt for that hole went there. Took the gearbox off, and I still had the rotor connected to the blades, still inside, and I couldn't take the rotor off until I had to get the blades off. That was a pain in the ass because the blades are micarta. Yeah, and so this is an aluminum hub and it was almost like galded to the, like stuck on the rotor. What I ended up doing is I used a handy dandy liquid wrench and sprayed it in there a good bit, tapped around trying to get that liquid wrench permeated between the shaft and the hub of the blades. Then I used, which I mean, use at your own risk, vice grips, and I gripped around this side, and I used another set of vice grips to clamp on, not to the shaft. You don't want to clamp onto the shaft, so I kind of did it closer to the stator, not the windings, I don't know what you call it, the iron. It's got some teeth marks here, but between the two I was able to kind of work it loose and slowly separate it. I mean, you can see the line on the shaft, how far it went in. I mean, it went pretty deep, but got it off with minimal damage. Minimal damage. So now I'm in the process of removing these studs here, which you have to, hammer out and then tap out, because eventually the hammer will bottom out. How many times can I say out? So you don't want to hammer the windings. That would be bad. You can see it kind of going in. You don't want to hammer the windings. I've actually ruined a restoration that way. Hit a winding, shored the windings out, and that was it. Thankfully, it was for a cheap burst head fan, and I had a whole bunch of other substitute windings. I really need like a third hand or clamp, but recording this makes it very difficult. But you can see it's coming out. Don't want to grip it with anything, so I'm just keep on tapping it until it eventually comes loose. Tappy, tappy, tappy. Come on. Man, it's in there. Yeah, you can see how it's coming out. There's one. I ended up using a nail with the sharp part cut off as a tap, because my tap, it couldn't fit all the way. So here, let's do the second one, and maybe, I hope you can hear me. There's some guy cutting the grass across the street. All right. Woo. Cheap, but effective. There's the other stud. It's really, I in the past I've restored one of these things, and I was trying so hard to thread it out. I mean, I was turning and turning, and it wouldn't turn. I ended up breaking it looks like a screw head, but it's not a screw. So, yeah. Curse you, Westinghouse. Okay, now it's time to... Alright, I wanted to point out, too, and I don't know if you can see it with, like... There is sand all up in this fan.
I don't like sand.
Look at the light on it. Look at that. Sand. And that's why when I initially got this fan, I spun the blades, it sounded so gritty. It was the sand just grinding down. So I don't know what the deal is with this fan. I'll ask the owner. Alright. Let's keep taking it apart. Oh man, look at the sand in this thing. I mean, you can hear the grittiness. Yeah, so the stator is out. So the next step is to kind of blow out the stator, get another resistance reading just to be on the safe side, and then I'm gonna revarnish it with clear varnish. I'll walk you through that step. But this thing needs to be cleaned. I mean, all of this needs to be cleaned. I mean, damn. Someone took it to the beach and then had a good time, apparently. Too good a time that it just completely gunked up this fan. Yeah, I can't remember how to get that oscillator arm off. I think there's I gotta clean it off, but I think there's a crimp ring on there that's keeping it in. Yeah, here we Telling you, filming while working is a pain in the ass.
I don't recommend it. Hope you can hear me, my neighbor cutting his grass.
Son of a... Okay, so I can see the gap there. Seeing the camera arm. This is a pain. Okay, getting it. It's just so gritty. Yeah. You know what it needs? You know what it needs? It needs some liquid wrench.
What's awesome is having this camera between my arms. Don't remember it being this difficult. The previous one I did. Sorry for the earthquake, but holy crap. What is keeping this in there? I've done it before, I just don't remember.
Some guy watching this video is like, idiot, you gotta do this. Talking to a screen.
Oh, Mama!
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pause the video and look at my other fan that looks somewhat like this. Hold on. So all it was is I had to just pry this effer off, and it's so crusty. Yeah, you just have to pull it off. Well, in my case, you had to pry it off. But there is a ball bearing in there now. Ball bearing, and then a little pinch ring. I don't know what you call those. At the end, I'll clean it off. I'll show you. And then once you get the pinch ring off, then you can get the ball bearing off. Then you can get the collar off. And with the collar off, you can get the oscillator arm off. So I just want to point out how sandy this is. But also, if you look right in there, that is the oscillator screw washer. So I guess the oscillator screw fell out. So that's good to hold on to.
Wow! What a hole!
Add it to the collection there. So there's the nameplate. You turn it around. 12 PA, 12 PowerAire. I'm gonna do there. It's riveted in here. I'm gonna drill the rivets out, and then see if I can flatten the nameplate. All right. I think where we left off was getting this off. I will attempt to take the collar off and the oscillating arm off next. So I guess this was made before retaining rings were a thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pry it off, loosen it up, so I can get the ball bearing and collar off. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, so I think I'll replace that with a more modern retaining ring. This thing is so gunked up, like getting this ball bearing out has been it's been a pain. But there you go, it's out. It is really gunked up. So with the ball bearing out, the collar can come off, and things are just falling apart now. Just like that. Collar off, oscillator arm off. The oscillator arm, wasn't anything fastening the oscillator arm to the collar. Just comes right off. But there is this guy in between the collar and the ball bearing. Oh wow. Alright, that's it for the rear of the motor. Well, I'm sorry, that's the front. The bearing in the front, I'll probably take that apart at some point, but let's just set this aside. Let's work on the base.
We'll return after these messages.